I don't even have it started this time. I know I always think I have gotten so good at thinking about these. I did the whole raise my hands and stuff as if I know, and I just expected something to happen.
What have I got? I spent my entire day playing Pokerogue and watching Dota. So, have you played Pokerogue yet? It's fucking amazing.
I have not played Pokerogue yet. Also, welcome.
It's fucking great.
Thank you, Overtime Inferno, Elliot, etc. Okay. No, I have not played Pokerogue yet. I opened the tab and then got very sidetracked. What I want there to be, and I don't know if there is, and I could just be absolutely capping. I would like a phone app, okay? And there's a reason why. I just bought one of those controllers that slips around your phone that gives you real controls on it, because I will show the reason why on camera.
It's going to be Raid Shadow Legends, today's sponsor.
No, it's not. It's because they brought emulation to iOS back finally, right. And I have been playing my way through Fire Emblem The Blazing Blade, or as it's known in the rest of the world, Fire Emblem. Because the first one wasn't called anything special here. Camera, can we focus, please? Okay, well, my camera determines how to focus itself. Yeah, so I've been playing through Fire Emblem, and it's been excellent. But I wanted physical buttons, and my camera really just does not like to focus. Fucking okay. Yeah, I've been playing through Fire Emblem, and I wanted to use physical buttons because using the little left-right pad on your screen sucks. So I bought a controller to play through a 24-year-old game.
There's still some very, very old games I play. There's a GameCube game, 2003, I still play from time to time, Gotcha Force.
That I just got in the mail. Hold, please. More show and tell today.
All right. I'm very excited.
Take this off the shelf without fucking breaking my shelf. A copy of Metal Arms Glitch in the System for the original Xbox, which is an excellent game that I will be emulating because nothing can play original Xbox games anymore.
No, that's true. One of my favorite games of all time is a PC game. It's a RTS called Impossible Creatures, which I maintain is one of the best ideas for a game ever, and deserves a remake, frankly. It's from 2001, and you create an army of units, but they're all hybrid animals. So you can have a half whale, half gorilla, for example.
Wait, is this what was the series as a kid? It was Animorphs or something like that?
It was similar to
but in game form?
Yeah, and it's a real-time strategy game that almost certainly is flawed because the game's 23 years old. So advancements in how RTS games played now, you could apply all of them and you could just make a brilliant game. I swear to God, this game was so good. I remember, me and my friends used to play and we'd be quite late game focused, because I think when you first start playing RTS games, that's kind of how you tend. I'm just going to keep getting stuff and then build a massive army and then attack. I remember the first time my friend attacked me with his amphibious, they were half crab, half something. It was something really quick, a cheetah or something.
So ridiculous.
He just swam through the sea round the back of me and wiped me out, and I was like, the game has changed, and now I have to be aware of this every game. And I created I made these really, really cheap half bat, half cockroaches. They were really cheap. You couldn't get them till mid game, but they were super cheap. So I could produce 100 within a minute, and I would just fly them to my friend. They were completely invisible, and they had a special thing where they just shit on the floor, and it would just damage. It would just damage anything that walked over it. So just all of his henchmen doing all of his mining, I'd just go and shit all over them, and then they would all die. But they were so cheap that it didn't matter, just to wind him up.
Excellent. I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley recently. My friend group, we have been fiending to find an MMO to play. But every MMO either falls into one of two categories. Sucks.
Yeah.
Or costs me $15 a month to play, which is unacceptable.
Yeah. I don't want to be paying a monthly fee for a video game. I don't mind paying a one-off fee.
Yeah. I don't have a problem paying for WoW. Here's my thing with WoW, okay? I don't have a problem paying $100 a year for a subscription, okay? If I'd pay $100 every year, that's fine. But if I'm paying $100 a year, that should come with the expansion for the year.
Yeah.
Why do I have to pay 100? What is it, like $150 a year?
Yeah, that should give you 100,
and then also
years.
have to buy the yearly expansion.
Yeah, that's obscene.
Which becomes free a year. It's so dumb. And like Final Fantasy, whatever, has the same problem. And then all of the non-subscription based ones just kind of suck.
Just terrible. Yeah. I don't know how you feel about the battle pass model in video games, but I find it exploitative of people who are seemingly incapable of not spending loads of money, but also very grateful. Like, for example, my dad bought a PC. Like, my dad's always been a console gamer. Yeah. He bought a PC for the first time this year, and I can recommend him like so many games because I'm just like, this is £5. This is cheap. This is cheap. This is free. Mm-hmm. This is free. This is free. Like, you can play nearly. You could never ever spend any money on a video game and play some of the greatest games ever made. You can play Rocket League, League of Legends, Valorant, Counter-Strike, obviously.
Well, mostly kind of Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike 2.
Well, no. Do you have to have Prime to play Face It?
No. You can play it for free.
Okay. I from a base level, I'd say you have to pay $15 to play Counter-Strike because playing Counter-Strike without Prime is just the worst thing ever. But
yeah,
I understand. Okay.
Yeah, you can play Warzone for free. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you can play some of the greatest games ever made and never spend money, and that's like ridiculous to think about because even 15 years ago, the best games would cost you £40. Like, and then there's so many games for under like 15, 20 quid that are also fucking masterpieces. Like,
Stardew Valley is my second favorite game of all time. It's not particularly close. It goes Counter-Strike, then Stardew Valley, then Call of Duty Black Ops 2. I have a list somewhere.
I have a list as well.
I have a list of top 12.
Really like a thing that just men do. It's just the thing they like.
Yeah, but I have a list of this, okay? And Stardew Valley is my second favorite game of all time. I've got like 200 hours in it, right? I could play that game with just spending the $15 it costs to buy the game. There's literally nothing else I can buy, and I am happy for it. And I said to someone at dinner the other night, I would have bought this game like now, like 4 or 5 years later after buying and spending 200 hours in it. I would have bought this game for $60, $70 on release. Yeah. Like, knowing about it years later, I would have easily spent. I bought the board game version of it for more than it normally sells for because they don't make it anymore. Or like they make it in very limited runs. So I will spend money on good games, but like, yeah, the Battle Pass thing is my big thing with the Battle Pass. I understand why they do it in League of Legends, TFT, I guess now Overwatch, or like
Apex as well.
Apex. Free to play games that have a Battle Pass, fine. If you want to go spend your money on a Battle Pass, go for it.
Games with a Battle Pass is weird.
When you add a Battle Pass to fucking Call of Duty that I'm spending, now not that I spend $80 a year on Call of Duty, but if I spend $80 for Call of Duty and then on top of that have to buy a Battle Pass because there's a gun that's only accessible through the Battle Pass that suddenly becomes meta, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. I even think like the free-to-play Battle Pass model is kind of exploitative.
No, it definitely is a little bit, but like
I also am grateful because it means I get to play some of my favorite games without spending. Like, I started playing Apex last winter because Counter-Strike 2 was shit at the time.
Yeah,
I would not have played it if it was £40.
No,
but now it's free with a Battle Pass. I might spend some money on it because I really enjoy it.
I started playing TFT with spending absolutely zero money on it. I buy the Battle Pass. I don't think I bought it this set because they've changed a lot of Battle Pass stuff, but like for the last like 5-6 sets, I have paid for the Battle Pass every time because it is just worth it to me to pay for the Battle Pass.
Yeah.
But I also know many people who don't ever spend a fucking dime on it, and that's fine too.
Yeah.
But it allows, I don't know. I could go into Battle Passes for a long time.
Your spending allows other people to play it for free. Just why it's kind of exploitative because there are some people who will spend thousands and it's like kind of addictive.
Yeah, well, but keeping the TFT example, then you have the fucking gacha treasure realms that are the worst things ever created and are the worst.
Yeah, I mean, gacha games are a whole different level of...
Let's talk about a real gacha game, Counter-Strike 2. Group A is currently going on in ESL Pro League. You have probably not been watching, is my bet.
I've been working screen. ESL on Dota 2 Birmingham.
So are you in person for this event?
I'm not. So I was asked.
I had seen this online that they had ESL 1
I'm
Birmingham
half an hour away.
Going.
Yeah,
no, I know. I'd seen that it was online, and I went, I wonder if Elliot will be there.
So I was asked originally to work it in person, or at least in person for the weekend.
Yeah.
And I couldn't because I was working ESL Challenger in Melbourne. Last week I got an email saying, "Oh, do you want to switch from Melbourne to Dota 2 because we need somebody and it's closer and whatnot?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." Because not only that,
fuck up your schedule.
I don't have to fuck up my schedule. It's half an hour away, and it was more days. And I have a mortgage to pay now, so yes. More days is good.
More days,
but then they're like, "Oh yeah, no, you're only working Monday through Thursday." So they don't need me for the weekend, and I'm remote anyway. And I'm like, but I can take a train. It takes me for probably 45 minutes to get to the arena. It does not take me long. I could easily work in person. But they're like, no, they're flying somebody in to work the weekend, but having me work remotely Monday to Thursday and taking me off
40 minutes
ESL
away.
Melbourne. I don't understand. I might just say I could also do Melbourne if you want. I just have the longest day ever on Friday. But
all right. So while ESL IEM Melbourne thing is going on, while Dota event going on, ESL Pro League has been going on. We've seen some of Group A. We have yet to talk at all about Pro League because we didn't want to last week. So this is the first time you're hearing about it from us. Some of these things are interesting. Group A is very interesting, let me tell you.
Pro League is fun, but it does kind of feel like it takes so much time, and it kind of feels like a bit of a break. Do you know what I mean?
It does. It really does feel so.
You can dip in and out quite easily.
So I'm absolutely going insane. By the way, Group B has also been going on. We'll go through both of them. This is the thing. This event feels like everything's going on at the same time and also nothing. And the B stream feels like a hallucination of itself, and I cannot explain why. But M80 were playing yesterday against BetBoom on the B stream, and it felt like there was just a hallucination that the B stream was even going on. It's a whole thing. Let's start.
I think you might just be a bit drunk.
It's 4 p.m. Not yet.
4 p.m. somewhere.
No, it's 4 p.m. here. It's just I'm not.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm starting drinking yet. All right, let's talk about Group A. Group A includes Faze, Imperial, Astralis, Eternal Fire, Virtus Pro, Fanatic, 3D Max, and Saw. Now, let me remind you how ESL works. Each group will have a winners final that I believe is the left side of the bracket and the right side of the bracket, top two teams. Okay, the loser of the winners final goes to play in both the winner and the loser of the upper final go into playoffs. Okay, there's a lower final. The winner of that goes into the playoffs as well in a different seat. And then there's a last chance stage, which when you lose out of the losers bracket, you go to last chance stage. And the winner of the last chance stage also goes to playoffs. It's a thing. So basically all you need to know, the top 4 teams, there are 4 teams that can make it from a given group. So having given you this group of Faze, Imperial, Astralis, Eternal Fire, Virtus Pro, Fnatic, 3D Max, and Saw, you would think that it would probably be Faze, Astralis, Eternal Fire, Virtus Pro. Except 3 of those teams are on the same side of the bracket.
Yeah.
So, to start the day off, Faze played against Imperial, 1-2-0. Did that surprise anyone? I don't think
probably. So. It probably surprised somebody. I don't know who, but it would have surprised somebody.
It would have surprised somebody. And then Astralis played Eternal Fire, and this has been the start of the surprising bit of the group. Astralis beat Eternal Fire 2-0. And then Astralis beat Faze. And this game was weird, and I specifically would like to talk about Ancient. I don't know how much of this you saw, but
Not much at all.
Astralis went up 9-3 after their T-side Ancient first half. And then the game was like 10-11 or something like that instantly after. Astralis won like one round and Faze won all of the rounds. And Astralis still ended up winning.
Astralis used to be really famous for their Ancient. I'm thinking like the Cologne last year.
The first time
really
Ancient really got brought through, they were really good at Ancient.
Yeah, they were really good at Cologne last year. Like, they're famously really, really good at it. It's always been a good map for them. Obviously, they've just gone through a pretty significant change in their team. But you also have to take into account that Astralis results in group stages and not in big arenas don't really matter, because we know Stound's good in group stages. We know Stound's good when he's not in an arena. What we don't know is whether he can be good in an arena.
This event really is the group stage of events.
Yeah, yeah, it's like an entire event of group
It's
stages.
in Malta the whole time.
But this is also the group stage of the group stage event. Of course, Stound's the best player in the world.
Yeah, I mean, we do the winner of this goes to play in Malta in front of a crowd of checks 100 people.
Yeah,
there are more people at the LEC finals than there will be at this event.
There's more players at this event than there are fans.
Yeah, I think there actually are.
There's 32 teams.
Of 5 players at a coach or two.
160 players.
Insane. Okay. So yeah, Astralis kind of making a little beeline. They will play on Saturday in a best of 3 for the upper finals. On the other side of the bracket, Virtus Pro Fanatic. To surprise everyone to start, Fanatic won that shit.
Yeah. It does feel like it's kind of time for Fanatic to do their like once a year like good event.
And realistically, ESL Pro League feels like the one event to do it with.
I feel bad like talking this like really putting down Pro League like this, because I know a lot of people who work on it, and a lot of people work really hard, and it's like,
I agree.
It's 5 weeks of Counter-Strike, and these people are putting their heart and soul into it. And it's just, I just don't care that much. I'm so sorry.
There are 32 teams there. No one goes to arena. I remember FaZe won their Grand Slam at Pro League.
Yeah.
And there was like 20 people there to watch them win the Grand Slam.
Like, one of the biggest Pro League moments is the fact that the online Cadian who can't win Pro League like this is the most memorable thing that's happened in Pro League in a few years.
I'd be willing
to talk about an online thing that happened during COVID for IEM Cologne or any other tournament. You just don't remember any of it. It's the only moment I remember from online is you can't win Pro League like this.
I'd be willing to
argue it's the only way you can win Pro League.
Online Pro League may have been bigger than in-person Pro League.
Yeah.
Somehow.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's like the problem. Malta is fucking beautiful, and all the pictures you see of it. If I was a talent or a player, I'd fucking love it.
Psyched.
Go to Malta for 5 weeks or 2 weeks, whatever. Just chill out in the sun, in the water. Beautiful scenery, surrounded by no fans because there's only 100 people allowed in. You're only surrounded by like your friends. It'd be glorious, but I just like, unfortunately, Malta has kind of killed the vibe of Pro League mattering.
Yeah. Part of me loves this is the last like this is gonna sound weird for a minute, and then I'll tie it together. But like, this is the last remnants of like Beyond the Summit to a degree. Yes. Of like the couch broadcast of like they're just being like 5 analysts on the couch, and like the people casting obviously care about casting and are good at casting, but like don't care to a degree, and you put like 3 play-by-play casters together and just say fuck it, we're doing it. And I love that of it, right? But the problem is Summit was like 8 teams, and you watched like a team play in a fucking bedroom that was the size of my bedroom, and everyone was like crammed in around in this like little circle, and you were all in this house anyway, and you see players walking around behind and all this kind of shit. And there was only like 8 teams.
Mm-hmm.
We have 4 times the teams here.
Yeah.
Like,
It's hard to have the bedroom feel when when it's clearly a massive.
It feels like you take
operation.
this event feels like it could be more important and bigger are the wrong words, but like physically more teams than the major, right? I think it has the same amount of teams, right? It's huge. It's this massive event. It goes over many, many weeks. And then it feels like it's just kind of vacation, but not really. I cannot explain this correctly because it's difficult, but I just Pro League, man.
Yeah.
And then we do it like 3 times a year too, by the way.
Twice, isn't it? Or is it 3?
What?
I don't know.
We do it multiple times a year too.
Well, I think that'll change next year.
Probably with the 2025.
Like there's not enough room for Pro League to take up 3 months of the year.
No, there is not.
No, so it'll be a little bit more. They'll either refine it, go away from Malta, make it quicker, make it more prestigious by make it once a year. I think it would be more prestigious.
Yeah, but
once a year with a big land final again, good.
People are gonna hate me for saying this, but do it regionalized.
Yeah,
bring back if you like the Beyond the Summit vibes, which I fucking love. Say fuck it, we're doing Beyond the Summit vibes, and say how many NA teams did you bring to this event? Let's say 8, right? Go make one Pro League in NA around the time that you need to have qualifiers in NA to begin with. Do the same thing in Europe, do the same thing in Asia, and then have the top 2 teams of all of those at a later date go and play in a little land final somewhere.
Yep.
Takes a week at the end of the day, and you squeeze it in between other shit. That's my genius idea.
Yeah, I think that it's a little bit too cramped at the moment. Like, they really are going to struggle to find time for this shit. So we'll see how it changes next year. It does feel a little stale at the moment, but I think next year it might be more interesting again. At the end of the day, it's still 5 weeks of Counter-Strike to watch, so I'm not complaining. It's just like, it does feel a little bit like, it's kind of low. It always feels a bit low stakes and a bit like I'll tune in if I've got nothing else on. But
it's low stakes, but it counts so much. Like again, FaZe won their Grand Slam by winning Pro League.
Yeah, it just feels lower stakes than it actually is. I think as a viewer.
Yeah. Okay. So Virtus.pro lost to Fnatic. It was Fnatic did their once a year become good thing.
For one series.
For one series. So the next series is a weird series because it's 3D Max against Saw, which are 2 teams I never would have thought to see against each other in Pro League. Saw's coming off there.
Like both of them are reasonable here. Just them being against each other is a bit strange.
Yeah. And 3D Max won that. Now, let me remind you who 3D Max is now going against, because it's not Virtus.pro, the one team we expected to get through on this side of the bracket. It's Fnatic. So 3D Max beat Fnatic, which is its own weird match because Afro plays against 3D Max, which is kind of sort of the team that he just came from, even though they may not have been 3D Max at the time. There's a whole French thing in there. And now it's Astralis versus 3D Max in the upper finals, which is an odd sentence to say.
Yeah. They're also both in playoffs now. So 3D Max, one of the first team. I think they were the first team to qualify to playoffs, which is.
I think that's right.
I saw them tweeting about it.
I think. In the lower, Virtus.pro beat Saw, pushed them down to the last chance stage. The last chance of the last chance.
Saw were really, really good like a month or 2 ago.
Yeah,
and. Like they just seem to not lose, and then once they lost one, they seem to have sort of been broken a little bit. I'm sure like they're still not bad, but like they didn't win a map of 3D Max or a VP who lost to Fanatics. Not like they were frying teams like this before, and now it's like back to earth.
So the other match that just finished, Eternal Fire just beat Imperial 2-1, which means they will move on and play against Fnatic. So it becomes very interesting now because teams available for the last 2 slots, Fnatic, Eternal Fire, Faze, Virtus.pro, Saw Imperial.
Yeah.
Which becomes kind of scary, I'm going to be honest, if you're Faze, Virtus.pro, or Eternal Fire, because one of you will not make it.
Yeah.
And Virtus Pro.
Well, they might get through to the last chance stage.
No, because there's one spot left in lower finals, and one spot left in last chance stage.
Yeah, so Faze can win the final, and Virtus Pro can win the last chance.
Which means Eternal Fire do not make it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So with all of that, one of these teams will not make it. I have my bets on Virtus Pro.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
The electronic acquisition does not seem to be as plug and play as we expected. It does not seem to be bad.
To be fair, it's going to take anyone time to play like Virtus, but like you can't just put somebody in the Virtus Pro system and go play slowly. Like there's a reason nobody else plays like this. It's really hard.
I'm on board. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We kind of were like, oh, we last week talked a lot about like, oh, it'll be so easy because Electronic is used to playing under Boomich and Blade, and like they have very structured systems like Virtus Pro. And
they do,
then we forget that Jame takes everything to the extreme.
Yeah.
And so because of that,
again, there's a reason nobody else plays like VP. It's really, really hard. It takes a lot of practice. It's really difficult.
All right, so that's Group A. Assumptions here: Fnatic, 3D Max already through. I'd be willing to guess Faze Eternal Fire. One of Faze or Virtus Pro. One of Faze or Virtus Pro will make the lower finals.
Yeah.
And then right now I think Faze can beat Eternal Fire or Fnatic, who will be the other side of the lower finals. So I'd assume Faze get through, and then there's some math going on in the lower chance stage. Group B, a considerably less interesting group, except for one thing.
Well,
in my head, it's less interesting.
I kind of like this group. I like the group where there's a lot where the big teams are a little bit questionable, and the middle of the road teams are really up and down.
Well, there's only two.
It could have been really boring, and it still might.
There's only two big teams in this group. So Vitality and G2 both in this group.
Both got a loss in them.
Yeah, both definitely could lose.
Exactly. It's good fun.
And then we step a tier down. I guess tier 2 in this group is BetBoom, Falcons, Mongols.
I'd be willing to put M80 in
M80, yeah. And then we step down again to Sharks, Tyloo. No, Tyloo, then Sharks. I'm putting Tyloo above Sharks, but
I don't know, man. I don't know. Tyloo are really bad. I really want them to be good, but they're really, really fucking dog shit.
So Vitality won their opener against Sharks to absolutely zero surprise. The second map was a stomp. This is not the 9Z with try against Vitality that we saw once in Pro League and then have since heralded try as the best sniper in Brazil
pretty
for a
much.
while.
Like he was like quite good for a bit, and now he's just like kind of.
He's not on the Sharks team for what it's worth. It's just
is he not?
No, it just feels like a team that he should.
You're just firing a shot at him for no reason. He's nothing wrong.
Because the last time because we have seen at Pro League a quote unquote random team from South America.
I see.
Beat Vitality, which was 9Z against.
And you decided to call tryout.
A little bit. Where is he?
Really, is it? It's just not on, really. Is he not?
What is he doing?
Actually, I can't remember. I thought he was still on 9Z, but
he plays for. He's benched on 9Z.
Okay, fine.
All right,
fine. You win.
MAB.
Look what you've done. You got him benched.
One of the funniest games I've ever watched.
Yeah. Rest in peace, MAB.
Yeah. So let me know, because this is fucking hilarious. M80 pick Anubis, lose 13-5 to BetBoom on their own map pick. Okay, we go to Ancient, which is BetBoom's map pick. M80 absolutely slapped the shit out of BetBoom 13-1.
Yeah.
We then get to map 3, where no one has any fucking clue what's gonna go on, because once you finish Anubis and you're like, oh shit, MABD just lost 13-5. They have no mental capacity anymore. But then they come back and beat the other team even worse. What? BetBoom win 13-11. So we had 2 extremely one-sided games and then 1 tight as fuck game.
Yeah.
Absolutely stupid game to watch. Sin
does also a very funny scoreboard, because M80 just clearly outfragged them, like man for
Yeah,
man.
Malbs just was a god.
Malbs, he went absolutely nuclear and didn't win somehow.
Malbs had the worst rating, I think it is, or the second worst rating or some shit in the first map in Anubis. He had 7 kills at the end of the game.
Yeah.
He then had like 18 in the first half of Ancient or some shit, or like 20 in the first half of Ancient.
He's so good, dude.
I love him.
He's actually so good.
He's great. So M80 still have fight in them. I will continue to say this. They are working Sin in, and Sin looks like an upgrade.
Yeah.
In all the best ways.
I mean, Sin looked good on Big Academy.
He looked decent on Big.
Yeah, and then they just were like, Tabson was like, no, actually, I'm going to engage me. I mean, M80 also play Sharks in the next round, which is nice.
That should be a free win.
Very, very, very winnable.
Yeah.
And then they might play, is it like Mongols or G2? Yeah, it's Mongols.
It's Mongols or G2. So they M80 versus Mongols is a fun match.
It is a fun match.
Okay, let's talk about Mongols because they played against Falcons, which I have another article brought up here, okay? Because I need to talk about Falcons for a minute. Because this team continuously just says, we will buy the best player we can at a given moment and still fail, right? Or at least try to. So they said, what can we do post the Boros at the RMR's situation? They bought Dupree to reunite him with Snappy, I think, at one point maybe.
I don't know
if they've actually put it.
I feel like they haven't, but it feels like they should have done.
Definitely with Magisk and Zonic.
Yeah.
Right? Bring Dupree back. Yet, they still are not great. And more importantly, Snappy... Where is it? Where's this clip?
Is this the one of them talking about Simple?
No, in a podcast you did with Natu. This is from an HLTV interview with Snappy. Oh, yes, it is about Simple. I just forget to read questions sometimes. Just after Simple was announced to be standing in, you mentioned that Falcons needed a star player. Is Dupree going to offer this by you? He then says, in a podcast, this is one of the things that maybe in the long term be an issue, who's going to be the star player, but maybe there's a world in which we can also do it by committee. Have you ever heard of
That's not how star players work. Well, in-game leading by committee is sort of a thing. Like, less so by committee, but like having multiple voices is fine. You don't have a star player by committee. That's not how that works. Yeah, no, like that just doesn't make sense. You know the is it from like American football? It's like, oh, we can't find another Simple, but we can recreate him in the aggregate. That's what they're trying to recreate.
The Kansas City Chiefs said we can't. Tyreek Hill gets traded to the goes to the Dolphins, and the Chiefs went, we can't replace Tyreek. No one's as quick and as good as with the ball with him, but we'll replace him with 3 or 4 wide receivers that each can do one thing Tyreek could do. They then won the Super Bowl that year, so obviously it worked.
Oh, fair enough. Because I always thought it was kind of mocking, like, oh yeah, we'll recreate him in the aggregate. Like, I always thought it was kind of a mocking thing because every time I've seen teams try and do it in football, it's gone horrendously wrong. Like when Spurs tried to replace Gareth Bale with like 5 players, none of whom were any good. So
maybe they won the year after. I may be a little wrong on the year,
but still,
they won twice after this trade happened.
Yeah, they're trying to like recreate Nico, Simple, Boros in the. They're trying to create Nico or Simple in the aggregate. They tried replacing him like man for man with Boros. So like, no, we're just going to have to replace him by committee. I mean, look, so again, Snappy knows a lot more about Counter-Strike than I do. So if he says it's possible, I'm willing to accept it. But I doubt.
For what it's worth, if there was a team I would ever say was star by committee, it would be Virtus Pro or Ents.
Ooh, I don't agree with that.
I don't.
You mean like the old Polish Virtus Pro?
Yeah, the old Polish Virtus Pro.
Okay.
Sorry, because like Bialy wasn't a real star, and Neo wasn't a real star, and Snacks wasn't a real star, and Pasha was.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I thought you meant current.
No, sorry, I meant old Virtus Pro. Sorry.
Yeah, but no, I think that's reasonable.
Most current Ents that wasn't Polish plus Glaive Ents kind of was star by committee, like Madden.
Sort of, yeah.
like Madden and Sun Pius, I guess you
But
would
then, like,
say.
Sun Pius was god at the end of CS:GO. He was so good.
But you see what I'm saying?
Nerds
Like,
was also insane.
it was also star by committee to a degree.
The
Stupid
problem
for
is
star by
they're just like they're kind of putting Madden in star roles. I'm maybe Madden's biggest fan. Outside of Snappy and maybe Madden and Madden's family, I'm probably his biggest fan. He was a star rifler on a worse team, and he was pretty good at it. But he has spent the last year and a half, basically, as a hard anchor, high impact, low frag roles. Like, he gets like floor on nuke, I think. He's often like the entry or like an aggressive space taker with a man like stuck to his hip. Like, he's not been a star for a while, and it's hard to relearn being a star. Dupree kind of is a star, but he also kind of was a star, and now
was a star
like
on Astralis, but he was never on Vitality.
Yeah, like he sort of also wasn't a hard support player, but fine.
He was a rifler. He was kind of your
he was sort of like
rifler. But, like, when you have
Magisk hasn't been a star since like Optic. Sun Pius was a star, but he's not a star on CS2 at the moment.
Correct.
That's like they kind of need CS:GO Sun Pius, and maybe this team works.
And the last time Snappy was a star was like Contact or some shit. And
Snappy's
I don't even know if we could really consider that a star role.
Snappy has the Carrigan thing where he'll have maps that he just looks like the best player in the world, but it's not consistent. Genuinely, Carrigan will for some reason just have like a gold tier map out of nowhere. He'll do it like once a tournament, maybe twice a tournament.
So yeah, Mongols beat Falcons. Great time. Thoroughly enjoyable watch.
Big result for them. Like, it's been a while since we've seen Mongols actually beat a good team, and it's good to see 9-10 actually near the top of the scoreboard, because he's normally fucking awful.
Yeah,
and he's the thing that usually holds them back.
Tai Lu played against G2. To absolutely no one's surprise, G2 took a win here. Jam Young looked good for like one map, and that was it.
All right. You never ask a man his salary, a woman his age, or Advent what his rating is in any map, because it's never good. He averages like 0.8 in Asia, bro. I love the guy, but fucking hell, he's rubbish at Counter-Strike.
He was a combined 10 and 29 over the 2-map series.
Didn't he go 1 and 15?
As I say, which includes a 1 and 15 on Ancient. Like,
oh, bro, just like he's the best in-game leader in the region, and you know he is because he still wins games with Advent on his team. And like, as a scout, he is sensational.
Mm-hmm. But
as a coach, I'm sure he'd be really good. The problem is there's no other in-game leaders in the region to take over from him.
Bring back Captain Mo, goddammit.
Yeah. Captain Mo also wasn't very good.
No.
It's a real problem.
So Vitality play BetBoom tomorrow. Mongols play G2 tomorrow. Losers of those, etc., etc. If I was to do math on who's getting the fuck out of this group, it's Vitality, Mongols, G2, and take your pick of BetBoom M80.
I like M80.
I like M80 too. I have a feeling I don't think they'll go through and win lower finals. But I have a feeling that M80 can make a really nice last chance stage run. I think M80 will either make lower finals if they play against Mongols. I have faith in M80 to actually beat Mongols. I don't know why, but I do. But if they don't,
why not?
If they jump down to the last chance stage, who else is going to be there? Tai Lu, Falcons. They're better than all those teams. Sharks.
Yeah.
They're better than all those teams.
I like how quickly we're writing off Falcons. They're really not that bad.
No, I'm writing them off so quickly. I don't care.
They're not that bad.
I don't care.
They do still have like 15 major wins on their team or something ridiculous. Like 12 major wins.
So
13, I think.
They're too many.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's double figures.
Well, but the problem is it's too many for them to look like this.
Yeah, which is why they won't look like this for that long. There's no way. Like, look, they're not going to be the best team in the world with this lineup, but they're not going to be bad, surely. It's got Dupree and Magisk on it, and some Pius and Madden. They can't be this bad. They're not going to be bad for that long. Like it's just going. You just got to trust the process. They'll recreate Nerds in the aggregate.
We trusted the process for the Philadelphia 76ers, and then they got beat by the fucking New York Knicks. So I refuse to trust any process anymore.
I didn't trust the Philadelphia 76ers. I do trust Snappy.
All right, let's move on. Group C and D will happen next week. We'll talk about it next week when we talk about the what happened in Group A and B at the end. Just note that Group B and C are, in my head, as interesting, but also not as interesting. The big Group C thing to know about ahead of time is that Furia is playing,
and they're playing against
Art,
Liquid, which is
and playing as Liquid, which is a banger opening.
I've got a note about Group D.
Okay.
One of the opening games is Big v Boss, and it just says Big Boss in capitals. That's great.
I love that game because we get to see Fang and Ponalone here again.
I have no interest in the game. It sounds like a terrible game, but it just says Big Boss, and that's great.
We also get to see more FlyQuest jerseys, so that's true. That's a big win.
We get to watch them crying into them. Navi pummel them into the ground.
All right, I have a sheet in front of me. Our social media guy Ben has again made us a game involving some players who are, I was told ahead of time, are no longer active. Okay, so these are players. None of the players are currently in their teams. So the last team will be the team that I guess they stopped playing with. Or I guess maybe could be benched on. I don't know. The game is called Who's That Counter-Strike Player? And in parentheses, to the tune of Who's That Pokemon? And I have a list of teams that they have been on. So we'll try and work our way through here. Player 1. And I'm just gonna run through the names. And I assume these are in order, but I'm not 100% certain. SY and B. That is a team name. Western Wolves, Epsilon, Fanatic, 1137, Luminosity, Mythic, Epsilon again, Passions.
Who the fuck?
The Fanatic is throwing me for a loop here.
Yeah. When I heard Epsilon, I was like, oh, surely that narrows it down.
Could it be?
And then it just really doesn't.
Would it be like Mattis or something like that?
Nah, he was on Sinners. I think.
Yeah.
And he's currently not on it. It has to be
he's currently on a team. I mean, the problem is, assuming that these are in order, Fnatic is so early in the career, and then goes to Luminosity.
He might have been on Fnatic for a long time and then been rubbish.
Okay, so this can't be a Brazilian player.
No, I don't think Fnatic in here, but had a Brazilian player.
Fnatic has never had a Brazilian.
Yeah.
So this to be a Swedish version of the Luminosity roster?
It could be a Danish player. Back when Fnatic used to be Danish, and Western Wolves, I think, are Danish.
Yeah. So Epsilon, I think, are also Danish. But who's a Danish that went and played for Mythic? Is this Get Right? But we just, left off some teams?
No. There's no way. Get Right didn't play for Fnatic.
No, I thought he did.
No.
In, 1.6. I don't think this was a go.
No.
I thought in 1.6.
They were Danish in 1.6, I'm sure. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like that's got to be all the teams he's played for. That's a lot of teams.
The Mythic is tripping me because there's not that many people that have played for Mythic. For those of you who don't know, if you don't know, Mythic is Flom's ESC Challenger team or whatever the fuck it is. So there's not that many people who have played with Flom in Mythic, but I know Get Right has.
There's no way it's Get Right, sure.
No, there shouldn't be a way it's Get Right.
Because this is surely every team he's played for. It's like a decent list.
I'd assume so.
Luminosity, they used to have an American team, right?
No, they had the... Maybe
they had a Brazilian team, but I think they
had an American team for 5 minutes. I don't know what they did after the Brazilian team.
No, not me.
I just assume this would be pre-Brazilian team. Because they've been... Actually, after Brazilian team, they have been always Brazilian team. Because they housed Yell for a while. and a couple other Brazilian players. I have no fucking clue. It's a Scandinavian player. That's as much as I got.
It's probably a Scandinavian player, but it could not. It could be not. It's not. Oh no, never mind. He played for.
All right,
I was trying to think somebody who's played for American and Swedish team. I went to Wolfie because I knew he was on Fanatic Rising, but it's not him.
I've looked. I know what the answer is.
Okay. Is it somebody I should get?
No.
Okay.
It's Devil Walk.
Oh, okay.
Who in my head has just never been a player in his entire life.
No, I mean, I do remember him as a player. I didn't know he played in Luminosity at the end of his career. Fair play.
I guess, yeah, I vaguely remember him in Mythic too. God, that's so weird. Okay. The rest of these hopefully are a little easier. Ninjas in Pajamas, Faze, Fanatic, Dignitas. I actually think I know this one.
Nip, Faze, Fanatic, Dignitas.
I think it's Exist.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I didn't look, but he started in NIP. There was that weird 5 minutes on Faze.
Yeah.
Then he was weird 5 minutes in Fnatic, and he ended the career in NIP retirement home, which was just Dignitas for a while. I think it's
When I heard Nip Faze, my first thought was Alu, but it's obviously not Alu because it was the Ents bit.
It is
Exist. It has to be Exist. Yeah.
It is Exist. Yeah. All right, player 3. Holy fucking shit! There's like 12 teams. 3D Max, Reason,
right?
Dignitas, Copenhagen Wolves, Deponere, Dignitas, G2, Faze, North.
It's AZ.
I was gonna say I know who it is because the next one is Hyenas. AZ. It's AZ.
Yeah.
I don't even need to check. There's like 4 more teams on here, by the way. It's South, Tokyo Rangers, NKT, and Sashi. It's AZ. That was okay. What the fuck? Okay. Player 4. Denial, I Buy Power, Denial, Team Liquid. I know who this is.
Is it Nitro?
This is Nitro. The problem is we're missing 100 Thieves, Team Liquid.
Yeah.
We're missing a couple of bits in here. Yeah, it was Nitro.
Yeah.
Okay.
I vaguely remember.
Team 5. USSR.
Good start. I hope that's his only team. No, I've got to guess who this is.
Not.
He's only played for the USSR national team. It's the only team he's played for.
DAT. Hellraisers, Na'Vi Jr. I know who it is. 1 Win, Boston Crab, and Cybershock. I know exactly.
You know who this is?
Yeah.
Hang on.
I know exactly.
My first Hellraisers, Na'Vi. Oh, Flamey.
Yeah, this is Flamey for when they brought Bit up.
Yeah.
And they moved him to Na'Vi Jr.
And he started watching Force trailers instead of warming up.
Yeah. He's watching
that story that was
like Fast and Furious or some shit. Or he's
I thought it was like Forza Horizon. Yeah. That's what I thought it was.
Yep. What a weird God, why player rosters weird. All right, I think that's it for us this week. Kind of quick because Pro League's still going on. Because
it's also kind of late
for you.
Late for us to record. Well, it's late for us to record.
Yeah, I guess so.
I've had long days, man. Like, the last 2 days,
you had such a long commute.
They do 2 game series in like the Dota 2 major. So they do 4 essentially best of 2s, which doesn't sound that long. But the draft in Dota lasts fucking ages for no reason.
I watch Dota once a year. I watch TI. That's it.
But the draft takes so long. It just doesn't need to.
Understand what's happening most of the time at TI. I just watch TI.
I've gotten quite good at knowing what's going on during Dota. I worked an event in person in Berlin and spoke to people who actually knew what they were talking about, and they would point things out to me. I'm like, oh, okay, this starts to make sense now. But then it's been a few months since I've watched it, and I'm sort of catching up again on all the things I knew.
All I know is that Dota is items make the champion, and League is at least supposed to be champions make the items make power for champions, and then champions make power for.
Sort of.
It's just like different of where your power comes from, because you have to buy flash, and that just seems wrong to me.
I think Dota is like, they go with the philosophy that if everything is overpowered, nothing is. It's what I like to call the Modern Warfare 2 paradox.
Yeah.
And if you've ever played Modern Warfare 2, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because everything on that game is massively overpowered.
Yep. Trust me, thoroughly aware. And on that note, we're going to end for this week. We'll be back in next week. Hopefully, we'll actually have real stuff to talk about in terms of Pro League and other stuff.
We had stuff to talk. We had Pro League to talk about. We briefly touched on Electronic. We'll be able to talk about Furia next week. He's so good.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's
so good because
we do a Furia.
Fun.
But I think Gary is back as coach. By the way, did you see this? I saw some shit.
Bro, I can't. If I kept up with every Brazilian roster move, I'd go insane.
We're going. You can find us on Twitter at Logan Rahab, at AZAsk, and at ReedTLDR. We'll be back next week. See y'all.
Bye.